Do you feel guilty about the choices of the past, being imprisoned by what you chose then and then won't choose now? The ironic paradox of guilt is that as an infinite being, and you knowing that you would never truly do something to hurt someone, you would never feel guilty. Okay. If you actually wanted to hurt somebody, you wouldn't feel guilty. It's the paradox. The fact that you feel guilty about something is a signal that you are on the right track. You're this infinite being. The mistake is judging what you view as a mistake. It is all pure experience, which you can label however you want. You can choose to label it all as perfection. So the As I Forgive Me process, well, let me tell you first where it came from. I took a workshop with Dick Sutphin. It was his life activation workshop, and I took it over 8 years ago. And in deep trance, I had this acronym come to me called As I Forgive Me. And let me put it on the screen here, just a little picture I came up for the class. But I want you to see how I have this labeled here. You see that As I Forgive Me is an acronym. Each one of these things, allowance, surrender, identify, and so on, is all a recipe for looking at the deepest parts of your soul and stepping into the allowance of the totality of you. Now, notice I'm not saying you change everything. There's not a wrongness to any of it, but we're looking at it through the lens of religion, of society, of our parents, of all these things that make us look at our past actions and judge them as wrong. But in reality, it's all a gradient, right and wrong, all things of a gradient. We have the perception of the duality because the truth of the matter is, as infinite beings, without this contextual field of apparent opposites of these gradients that look to be in opposition, we would have nothing other than ourselves to know ourselves by. It's an experiential world. And what if all this stuff in your past is beautiful contrast for the soul? What if all of it is you honoring your journey to know yourself experientially? And that's what this workshop is about. It's about identifying the places where we are judging ourselves and judging others and not being an allowance of the totality of who we are, and then allowing ourselves to be in full embodiment of who we truly be, embracing it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all in air quotes, because all those are judgments. But once you accept, or once you're in allowance of the totality of who you are, it frees you to be anything. But the things that you're most embarrassed about, the things that you don't want to be vulnerable about, the things that you keep most hidden in the world, those are the things that are deep within that project out as the shadow projections, the things that we notice in other people and all these types of things. The workshop takes a deep dive into this. So join me. So you might be watching this on a replay. Check out my website, hanksutala.com, and look at what classes are coming up next. This is offered as a deep dive 1-day intensive. Eventually, it's going to be a multi-day intensive. It's offered as a 4-part webinar or 4-part Zoom series where once a week for 4 weeks, we meet and we go through the process. And it's also going to be offered as an at your own pace self-help series where it's just pre-recorded videos and you can dive into the material on your own without so much facilitation. So that's not up and ready yet, but by the time you watch this video, it might be. So you want to check that out. But it's all going to be at hanksutala.com. And best of all, help another to awaken. Share this video. Be the invitation for somebody to choose more for themselves. Actually, not even more for themselves. Be the invitation for people to choose themselves. I mean, we're so busy pretending to be something that we're not. We're so busy going from childhood where we were taught, stop being you. What will the neighbors think? Sound familiar? We have been taught to not be and to empower other people's judgments over our own knowing or beingness. So what invitation could you be for your neighbors, for your family, for your friends, for yourself to hear the call of the soul and to wake up? And to start choosing things that are in alignment with the soul purpose. When you align the soul purpose and the life force, that's where miracles and magic happen. So I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much. And I'm so looking forward to working with you.